Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to run through my top 5 hidden features inside of Revizto. So I appreciate you guys joining me. I will stick around briefly after. This should only take 20 to 25 minutes, but we'll stick around after the webinar to run through any questions you guys might have through these features. So again, this is recorded. So if you see something that you like and you want to share it to somebody else in your team, we will be sending out this recording if you are signed up for the webinar. So everybody should be able to see my screen. We got Revizto on there. So we're going to go from the top number 5, and we're going to work our way down to my ultimate favorite, which is number 1. So starting off here, I am going to move my Revit folder over to my main monitor. And we are going to start with the Revit to Revit switchback with stamps. So this is a huge feature for those designers that are already working in Revit. So if you are spending majority of your time inside of Revit and you're identifying an issue in design, or somebody's sent you a screenshot or a Revizto issue and you discover something inside of your Revit model, it doesn't make sense to go try to jump to another platform like Navisworks or Revizto to try to communicate that issue. So again, right here, we have a section, obviously, that we're looking at. We're going to say, you know what, we got an issue with these stairs here. Whoops, let's click off of that. We'll go with these stairs. So I'm going to jump up to Revizto. We're going to hit new issue. And as you've noticed, it's going to create what looks like an unintelligent, just standard snippet. So we can mark this up and say, hey, you know what, these stairs have a design issue. Type in our title of our issue if we choose. And bam, it's going to show you that inside of the Revizto issue tracker. But what most people don't understand is that if we're communicating that to somebody else inside of Revit, all they have to do is select issue tracker. They have Revizto's monitor up on the other side of the screen. So here's that issue we just created. They're going to double click this, and it's going to take them back to that issue inside of Revit. So Revit to Revit communication, Revit is going to be your primary monitor. And on our secondary monitor, or a third monitor, whatever monitor you guys choose, we're going to have Revizto's issue tracker. So here is where we can then communicate, you know, please adjust these stairs to these specs, blah, blah, blah. We can add then additional tags as well. So if we are going to utilize this with the stamp, it's the same workflow. We hit new issue, we come up here and we can stamp that, which is going to then tie into our direct reporting. So we'll grab in here and say, you know what, we need a door repair. It's up here. And we're going to mark up, yep, here's where that door repair is going to need to be. We select done, and now it's automatically going to be able to be filtered by that stamp and show up in that door repair stamp, even though it was taken inside of Revit. So again, allows us to still have the reporting capabilities of Revizto, yet doing it from Revit to Revit communication. Number 4, filtering clustering in 2D. Man, this one almost made it higher up on the list, but it's certainly one of the features that whenever I seem to show people this, they get surprised. So again, let's jump into our 2D portion and get right at it. So again, we have a lot of different issues in here. If I jump to our issue tracker, we got 1,600 issues in the total project, and it looks like, you know, a good chunk of them fall on this level 1 ceiling plan. So what we're going to do first is we are going to click the filter button. And when we do that, we can come in and say, you know what, I want to see issues that are only based off of a stamp category, and I want to exclude our meeting stamps, and I want to exclude punch list stamps. All right, great. Now we got what I want to see. Let's cluster this, and we're working in the northern part of this building right now. So you know what, we just want to check out these 132 stamps right here. So a couple different things here when I cluster these at the highest radius. So I'm going to cluster these all the way over. We can see that looks like maybe 60–70% of these issues are going to be red. That means they're in open status. So just by looking at that cluster radius, we can tell what status they are. It looks like, and then we have a little bit more in solved than what we have in progress. So it kind of gives us an idea where down here, it looks like we got just a little bit more in open status, and solved and in progress are about 50-50. Well, right here, if we just want to focus on these 132 issues, I just click on it and bam, it filters all 132 issues into this issue tracker. So we filtered and we eliminated a couple stamps out of there that weren't relevant to what we were looking for. We can click 132 and that's going to correspond to the issue tracker. So if I reset filters and I want to come in and see these 37 down here, click, boom, 37 issues. And now as I scroll in, I can uncluster these and it's going to show me those 37 issues that fall in that quadrant of the building. And that is our number, or my number 4 hidden feature inside of Revizto. Next, we got filtering in 2D sheets. So this is our product manager and founder, Armin, is one of his favorite hidden features. So I wanted to include this in here, and it fell into number 3 on my top 5. So one of the cool things with this, let's come back here and reset all filters. This is a really underutilized feature inside of Revizto. And the main reason is because we're combining in this project BIM 360, we're combining Procore docs and documents you might have imported directly into Revizto or directly from Revit. So when we come to 2D, we have a long list of documents here. So we can see, a number of these, and how can we organize these? So there's maybe a lot of different information that we're looking for on here. Well, if we come up to this filter button right here on the top left and we click filter, we can actually tag or look at different, or isolate different issues by a number of different categories. So you can see I had a lot of mine open already because I utilize this quite frequently. But again, here's a really good example. Let's just jump into tags and we say, you know what, we only want to see tags that are 60%, where our model's at 60% DD. Boom, filters those out, and you can see exactly, those plans that we've tagged in this demo project. We'll clear that out. Another one is versioning. I just want to see, sheets that got updated on May 13th, and it's going to show we just have one sheet that got updated on that specific day. Like our standard issue tracker filter, we can also stack these. So we could say, hey, I want to see issues that are Sean's plan and also self-perform and also May 12th. And it looks like we got nothing on May 12th, but we can just click and see if they meet the following parameters. We can also jump into sheet name or number, as well as who it was designed by or approved by. So again, a bunch of different things to check out underneath this filter. And that brings us to number 2. So number two is really unique. So number 2 is going to be taking these clashes that we worked really hard on in Navisworks. We've already imported those into Revizto to give them that intelligence. So the cool thing about this is, let me re-clear this out. And we're just gonna jump into our issue tracker. We're gonna hit filter here, and we are gonna go down to the stamp category, or I'm sorry, we're gonna jump up to type of issue. We're gonna look at just clashing issues, and it's gonna provide me a list of all of our clashes. So for those of you guys familiar, this little icon here indicates it came in from the Navisworks Clash Detective. So if you guys are using Flypaper, iConstruct, Clash Grouper, 42, any of these platforms that are going to be used to group clashes together are going to import these into Revizto. So these are single clashes we can see here, but if we come up here, here's a one with 3. And if we jump into this specific issue, we can actually see these 3 individual clashes that make that up. We can see that our flex duct here is in green, and the red is going to be our structural frame. Now, let's back out of this, because the beauty of this is we can see this issue pretty well inside of 3D. We kind of get an idea of where that falls inside of our model. However, if we want to understand where it, how it intersects or how it works with one of our plans, we can jump into 2D. Let's jump back to 3D. Let's come back to that specific issue. We'll jump over to this one. We're going to collect 2D. And what we're going to be able to see here is on these 2D plans, we could select one of these plans, and we'll just come down here and we'll overlay this. And because we've selected that clash, the beauty is this, it's going to take the latest update of that specific plan, in this case, the level 2 lighting plan, and it's going to maintain that transparency that we've set in 3D. So let's just scroll in here and see this. So if we jump up here, we can actually see where that 2D and 3D fall. So we can actually detach that sheet. We can pull that sheet above or pull that 3D model below, reattach. But again, we're still maintaining control of where that specific clash is and where it falls, in this case, on our lighting plan. And that brings us to our #1 feature. So our #1 feature of my top 5 is going to be one that I use quite frequently. And I think this is something that you guys will all use as well if you aren't already. So we're gonna come back here and re-clear this. So sectioning is what this is gonna be. So everybody that's familiar with sectioning, that you guys know that works fantastic on an iPad or Surface tablet, as well as just coming in here and grabbing this section feature. So most of you guys are probably going to come in here and just section on a specific plane. You can double click a wall and section on that. And that's probably the most common way of utilizing it. However, if we're trying to just isolate an issue and create a very clean view inside of Revit and really kind of control what our design team is looking at, we're going to want to come in here and create a section box. So a couple different things. So we have this section box here, we've created that, and we're gonna have to kind of manipulate this. So one of the things you've seen with the latest release of Revizto is control to move backface. So what I used to do is if I wanted to move and make this on the back side a little bit wider, I'd have to do one of these maneuvers, spin over to the side, and we're gonna grab this back and pull that out. Now, if we didn't wanna do that, that's the way we used to have to be able to do it. So the beauty of this new aspect of Revizto is if we check this control to move backface button, we'll check it one time and we can grab any specific surface. And if we do that, we do not have to spin around. So it saves us a little bit of time there. So that is great from a fine tuning perspective. But if we originally are trying to just grab a specific area based off of a pipe run, we're gonna just unsection this and show you how this kind of intersects with my favorite feature. So we'll come up here and I'm gonna come into maybe the ceiling and we're just gonna grab one of these by hitting control. So let's just say we're worried about this specific piece of duct. I'm gonna hit control and I'll select it. And what you'll notice is when I click this section box button right here, it's just gonna section around that specific piece of duct. So this works with any specific object and you can unsection as you wish. So let's just jump in here. And again, let's just pick something small like this light, select section, and it's going to create that section box around that specific light. So we'll create the unfilter button again. So we are able to start to stack a lot of these features together. We're gonna zoom over here and come into the ceiling plan over here and grab maybe a piece of duct over here. Oops. Section, and we're gonna be able to see that specific duct inside of our 3D. Now this might not be very big, so again, this is where we can come into section and we can manipulate this to be the proper size that we're actually looking for. And then we can fine tune by utilizing that control backface button. So that is my top 5 hidden features inside of Revizto. Looks like we finished here just a couple minutes early. Was hoping to try to keep this, 20 to 25 minutes, but looks like we did it in about 20. So if there's any specific questions or feedback on this, we're going to continue to do a lot of these short webinars. We try to add a lot of value in a very short amount of time. So I apologize if you guys maybe thought this felt rushed, but we want to make the most out of your time, especially for these recordings. We're going to start doing a lot more of these that are a little bit shorter and a little bit more shareable, so we can pass those around our project team or within our organization to be able to show some of these workflows that might add a lot of value. So we are going to stop our recording and then answer some questions.